like to greet all human beings all around the world with a universal greetings of peace and the blessings of God be with you. It doesn't matter what your political, philosophical, personal, nor religious beliefs may be. It doesn't matter if you're the richest to the poorest person on the face of this earth. It doesn't matter whether you are the proclaimed toughest to the proclaimed weakest person on the face of this earth. It doesn't matter if you're my family, friends, nor my proclaimed enemies. It doesn't matter whether you like me, nor my YouTube channel, nor any social internet videos or speeches that I may do. I encourage you to subscribe freely to my YouTube channel, which is Raymond, R-A-Y-M-O-N-D, I-V-I-V-Y. Today happened to be Throwback Thursday, April the 22nd, 2021, and it's about 8:58 p.m. First, I want to let some people that don't know who I am, you see what I'm saying, and thinking that I'm all alone, you see what I'm saying, I want to let you know that God sent me to Charleston, Missouri, May the 3rd, 1996. And this is the title that God gave me. Tell them what that title is, baby.
Ambassador Raymond Lewis Ivy.
Can you say it a little louder for him?
Ambassador Raymond Lewis Ivy.
Okay, and you know, when Pharaoh was holding some of God's people captive, this is what he told them to do. Let my people go. And that's what I come down here to do. You see what I'm saying? But you know, sometime when you come down to a foreign land, you see what I'm saying? Some people reject you. They rejected, some of them rejected Harriet Tubman. You see what I'm saying? And she said it real clear. I freed 1,000 slaves, and I could have freed 1,000 more if I could only convince them that they were slaves. But you know, you can't convince some of these people down here in Charleston, Missouri, Mississippi County, that they are slaves mentally. Mentally being in slavery is worse than being in physical slavery with shackles on your feet and cuffs on your hands. You can recognize and you can feel that daily. But then when the oppressor, you see what I'm saying? The oppressor can be any nationality, but here in Charleston, Missouri, Mississippi County, there's no question or no doubt. And if the shoe fit wet, white supremacy runs Charleston, Missouri, Mississippi County. You see, you may have the NAACP, but down anywhere else the NAACP supposed to stand for, you see what I'm saying? The National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Down here in Charleston, Missouri, Mississippi County, it stands for the National Association for Some Colored People. You see what I'm saying? Some colored people. You see, me and my two children, my two young daughters, who happen to be black, Dominican and Puerto Rican, see, they don't stand for us. Let me show you something, and I want y'all to Google this up, one of my YouTube channels, when my YouTube channel was titled Charleston, Missouri Activists. Google up Charleston, Missouri Activists, false allegations, and defamation. False accusations and defamation. I want y'all to Google that up. It was a video that I made, a YouTube video that I made. It was April the 9th, 2016. You see, then one of my neighbors that used to live here in 2016 across the street from me, him and his female friend came and told me that this one individual that's black, he used to be the NAACP president down here a few years ago. He worked for the Susanna Wesley Family Learning Center here in Charleston, Missouri, which does nothing for the black community but suck in the money from the black community, using them in these programs, using the court system to have them to work like Hebrew slaves for him. But he retired after 20 years. But let me tell you what my neighbors came and told me what this black individual did. You see what I'm saying? And this black individual got power in the town, you see what I'm saying, with the white supremacists and the sellout blacks. You see, right down here. Now, he don't live over here. He moved over to the all-white neighborhood. I ain't going to say his name, but when you Google up Charleston, Missouri activists, false allegations and defamation, you will see who he is. You see, right down here on this corner. Right down on this corner, You see what I'm saying? Where that car is going, about right where that car's at right now. This black individual, first he went across the street to my neighbor and told my neighbor that I'm videoing their house. You see, my neighbor hadn't too long got out of the pen, but him and his female friend, they knew who I was, so they came and told me what he said. You see, what he was trying to do is get me ran up out of here, but he don't little do he know God sent me. Little do he know I grew up in Cabrini Green. You see what I'm saying? One section of Cabrini Green was larger than the population of the total of Charleston, Missouri, Mississippi County, let alone the black neighborhood itself. Little did he know I did time in Pontiac, Stateville, Menard, and Joliet. You see what I'm saying? And I wasn't in segregation. Well, not segregation, because I went to segregation a few times, but never was I in protective custody. But this guy here, first he tried to get my neighbors to go against me. He couldn't do that. Now he moved from the black neighborhood where we live in, what they call the hood. We call it Vine Street, Gale Street, and Paul Street. You see what I'm saying? Warren. You see what I'm saying? Lawnmower. That's the streets we call it. Finney. You see what I'm saying? Them the streets that we call it down here. But this black individual, when you see this video, people said he had the people thinking that I was stalking him. How can I stalk him when he going across the street to my neighbors, telling my neighbors that I'm videoing their house, trying to start some mess? You see what I'm saying? Then he goes down the street where I just showed y'all where that car was, telling the children in the streets that I rape children. You see what I'm saying? There's no history of me raping or attempting to rape any child. You see what I'm saying? Now this is one of the individuals they call a black leader. Down here, he's like a Jesse Jackson or a Al Sharpton. You see what I'm saying? Down here, he's an individual that worship, you see what I'm saying, white supremacists. He's an individual, no matter what side the coin is on, if the coin is in his favor, that's where he going. He don't care nothing about the black community. This is an individual that hires alcoholics, drug addicts, and drug dealers, you see what I'm saying, to serve our community, children and all. You see what I'm saying? But I went down there and videoed him for 4 minutes and I don't know how many seconds. When you look at the video, you will see it. Not one time did I threaten this guy. You see what I'm saying? I just said what I had to say, and I told the children, but he told the children to run. Run, he rapes children. You see what I'm saying? This is what he told them now. That was defamation of character, and then at the same time, he was giving them false allegations. And I videoed it to show, because this ain't the first incident that I had with this individual, you see what I'm saying, that think he powerful. He powerful to the white supremacists and the sellout black, but he ain't powerful to me and my family, me and my household. You see what I'm saying? We don't look at him like a community leader. We look at him as a person that's selling out the black community. You see what I'm saying? But now here it is, a female that later on started working for him, called the police on me, saying I was videoing the kids. The police came, and he admitted in his police report that I wasn't videoing the children. I was videoing this sellout black. I ain't gonna say his name, but you can listen. You can look at the video and see it. You see what I'm saying? He didn't see nothing wrong. But these police here in Charleston, Missouri, law enforcement, not all of them, if the shoe fit, wear it. They don't like me so, they hate me so much because of what I speak about. Martin Luther King talked about that real good. He said, to start a war, he said, to start a war, all you have to do is say what you think. You follow what I'm saying? Say what you think. But listen, the police called him and told him to come down to press charges on me. Ain't that something? Now look at this. What offense did I break? What law did I break? I have a constitutional right to video. I have a constitutional right of freedom of speech. You see what I'm saying? I got a constitutional right to protest. You see what I'm saying? And that's what I was doing. But let me tell you what they did to me. They put an outstanding warrant because he had a judge. The judge was a part of the Susanna Wesley Family Learning Center. the assistant state prosecuting attorney here in Charleston, Missouri, Mississippi County, was a part of the Susanna Wesley Family Learning Center. And this black sellout that had down there telling the children's that and telling my neighbors these lies, he used to work. All of them worked for Susanna Wesley Family Learning Center. Susanna Wesley Learning Center is a powerful, white-ran organization in this area. You see what I'm saying? Use blacks as long as they can, just like they used that particular black. And then once they got through using them for 20 years, now he done separated with them. But so he got his own headquarters with the Sellout blacks up there at 700 Elm Street or 700 South William Street here in Charleston, Missouri, Mississippi County. But they put an outstanding warrant for me now. And when I went up to the police station to press charges on somebody else, the sergeant and the chief of police and another police who since left this police department in Charleston, Missouri, they said I had a warrant for me for my arrest. They wouldn't let me press charges on the individual I wanted to press charges on. And then I found out later they give me a bond for $350. My two young daughters, I believe they might have been about 11 and 12 years old then. 10 and 11 years old. And my 80-something-year-old daddy, about 80-something-year-old daddy was in the house. And see, what they planned was lock me up, come and take my two daughters and my daddy. But let me show you how Queen, my 11-year-old, you see what I'm saying, outsmarted all of them. When they had me locked up, all of a sudden I get a phone call before I'm even processed in the detention center that I showed y'all earlier. I got a phone call from DCF. Guess what DCF wanted with me? How did they know I was in jail? You see what I'm saying? The police department and these people, see that black individual in the NAACP and all the rest of them, they work hand in hand with the good old boy system. I get a phone call from DCF at the police station, at they desk. They said a phone call is for you. Who could it be? Who else know I'm in here besides the sellout blacks and the white supremacists? I answered the phone. They said, this is the Department of Children and Family Service. I heard you was locked up, and I want to know who got your two daughters. I hung up on them. Then the same police that had called this black sellout to come press charges on me, they got me for intimidation, for threats, and stalking and harassment. But he going over to my neighbor's house, telling my neighbor I'm videoing, then go down there and tell children that I'm raping children. Show me when you look in that video, what did I do wrong? I'm getting to a point to show you how they got what they call from Ferguson, the federal government got Ferguson for a pattern of practice. Now, I had to pay $350 to get out, but they came to my house, knocking on my door. DCF, Department of Children, Agent, and police had my house surrounded, trying to get in my house. But my 11-year-old Queen outsmarted all of them. She didn't even answer the door. But that's why they was ringing on that bell. She was packing her clothes, her little sister clothes, and my daddy clothes. You see what I'm saying? When you train a child in the way to go, you see what I'm saying? They ain't gonna depart. See, at a time of peace, I teach my children to be prepared for war. They didn't know we was living with a World War II veteran, and they didn't know that they was living with an ambassador of Jesus Christ. You see what I'm saying? To come down here to expose these sellout black and these white supremacists. Now, how many other people's houses, if their parent get arrested, they gonna come to the house? They didn't think I knew anybody, but I know God. You see what I'm saying? But let me tell you, when they left, Queen and Birdie and them did what they supposed to do. My sister and brother came and got them. And then the Department of Agent lady came into jail with the same police that called this sellout black to come press charges on me. He asking me inside of the jail. That ain't his jurisdiction. He's a Charleston, Missouri police officer. He don't have any jurisdiction into the jailhouse. And he asked me, where's your daddy at? And I told him, get out of my face. You see what I'm saying? None of your business. I don't have to answer you nothing. But the lady from the Department of Aging remembered me when I first brought my daddy down in October of 2014 when somebody called a week after I came down here and said that I had kidnapped my daddy and I was abusing him. And the detective that left this here police department and was smart enough to go to the State Highway Patrol just recently left the Charleston, Missouri Police Department. Him and the lady came and they found out with whoever called they was lying, that I went up to get my daddy so he wouldn't have to go to a nursing home. And the lady asked me what my children was, and I told her. I said, I don't want to have nothing to do with him. She made him get out of the way. I told her what my children was, and she went to go see if my children was at my sister's house, and she seen it was. You see what I'm saying? Then when I bonded out, I went back to go try to press charges a couple of days later on the other individual that was disturbing my peace and threatening me. And the city, the city attorney said that I'm not a credible witness. But I got what this guy did on my video. So I don't have to say anything. The video speaks for itself. But they wouldn't do nothing. But let me tell you about what happened to me when they arrested me and I had to bond out. I got a lawyer who sold me out, didn't talk to none of my witnesses. And then they convicted me, sentenced me 1 year in jail, suspended sentence, and gave me 2 years supervised probation. 2 years supervised probation for just videoing this guy. You see what I'm saying? Who was telling lies on me. But let me show you what just recently, what they did to a white boy when he actually came and threatened me. It's on my video, y'all seen it. He came from around on the side of them bushes from the projects. He walked all the way up here, right here in my driveway, and I was here and told him to get back out of my driveway. My video, my security camera seen it, showed it. He threatened me after he got out. He said, I'll beat your A, old man. And said a lot of derogatory things to me. I called my daughters and them. He tried to leave and we followed him and videoed him. And you can see the video on my YouTube. It's titled, White Boy Come on My Property Trespassing and Threatening Me. Let me show y'all what this system did to him. They arrested him, but let me tell you what they did. He didn't have to bond out. He went to the police station and they wrote him some tickets and let him go out. And he went to court April the 14th, the day I came back from Chicago burying my son. I didn't make it back in time to go to court, but I found out the next day. Let me tell you what they did to him. Number one, he didn't have to bond out. Now, he actually threatened me and admitted to threatening me. He trespassed on my property. It said no trespass. It say no trespass in private property. It said all over the place. But let me tell you what they did with him. He pled guilty, and the only thing they did to him was fined him $75. Ain't that something? That's what you call a pattern of practice. In the year 2001, back in February of 2001, another white guy with the same last name as this guy, he got mad when I was working at the Pilot where the new McDonald's is right now, right off of Highway 105, across the street from Boomland here in Charleston, Missouri, Mississippi County. Another white guy threatened me because his Mexican girlfriend was talking to me. I was working at Pilot. We'll just say, hypothetically speaking, this fence is Pilot. And right here where my other daughter sitting there, this is a little garage or a mechanic shop that Pilot was renting out to a trucking company that this guy worked it for that threatened me. Both of us had a right to be on this property. Neither one of us trespassing. Now, when he seen me, he said, it's all your fault, Ray. He said, I'll blow your, he said, come over here. He said, I'll put some bullets in your head and they'll find you in one of these fields and call me the N-word. Now, during that particular time, black folks was being found in grain bins. Black men was found in grain bins, in ditches, with their teeth pulled out. You see what I'm saying? And let me tell you what they did with him. They broke his charge down from a hate crime, calling me the N-word, threatening me. You see what I'm saying? And they let him plead guilty to trespassing. How could you get a threat out of a trespasser when neither one of us was trespassing? And let me tell you what they did to him. They fined him $50. But yet, I had got a $350 bond for videoing a sellout black. You see what I'm saying? For telling children that I raped children. But let me tell you this here. That go to show you what type of individuals down here that we have down here. You see what I'm saying? No matter what happens, when I stand up for something, the system go against me. But one thing about it, you see what I'm saying? When you go up against the system, it ain't gonna never be fair. But one thing about it, you start to still stand your ground. If anybody say that they got some leaders down here in Charleston, Missouri that stand up against racism, stand up against white supremacy, stand up against sellout blacks, they are lying. The truth ain't in them. And I'll stand on any platform with all of them that says that they stand up against any of this racism. They don't stand up against racism in the Charleston R1 school district. If you're not racist, don't let it bother you. But it is racism in there. They don't stand up against racism on the police department. If you're not racist, don't let it bother you. But there's only one black police on that platform. And if they don't stand up against racism in the Mississippi County Jail, ain't no black deputies there. And if you ain't racist, don't let it bother you. They don't stand up against racism in City Hall or nowhere else. You see what I'm saying? But I just want to let y'all see this here. Charleston, Missouri, ain't no black leaders here, y'all. You see what I'm saying? Now, I'm going to tell you one thing about Vine Street, especially the 600 block of Vine. We peaceful. We got unity here, and they don't like that. We got unity because of us that live here. We don't have unity because the NAACP, City Hall, the Sheriff Department, the Police Department, or these sellout black preachers or sellout white preachers. If you're not a sellout, don't let it bother you. The whole Vine Street has unity because of the brothers and sisters that live on this street. You see what I'm saying? When trouble comes, it's trouble from somebody else. And other people don't like what's happening on this particular street, so they try to bring trouble. But we got something for them. We a force here on Vine Street, a force not to be reckoned with. Peace be still.